Thank you, everyone. We're starting our March meeting. Sign-in sheets going around, so please feel free to sign in. Thank you for anybody that's on Facebook Live. And we'll just go ahead and get right to it because we've got a few topics tonight. We'll skip through the purpose. So this is our agenda. We're going to approve the minutes from February 13th, hopefully. Then we're going to do our 1-minute updates like we did last time. So those are kind of shorter conversations. And then we're going to go into a few deep dive topics as we move through tonight. So there's 3 slides. We talked about a lot of stuff last time. So this was page 1 of the minutes, page 2 of the minutes, and page 3 of the minutes. Now we posted these online, so hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at them. And hopefully we can just make a vote to approve. Anyone want to make a motion to approve? Okay.
Approve.
Okay. Anybody opposed to approving the minutes? All right, done. Hey, look at that. We're done through our first thing. We're on to 1-minute topics. Melissa, you want to cover the treasurer's report?
Sure. Our beginning balance is $13,618, and we're rounding the end of that last month's cycle at $13,488. Cash in was $22.50. Cash out was $152.44. To date on the script fundraiser, we're up to $37.05 coming in from that. This does not reflect the AF Pizza fundraiser, which we got $156 from that. And part of the cash out is deposits towards our spring event, so that's what some of that cash out money is for.
So, yeah, so this will look a little different next time we have an event. And we've got a lot of money coming in from Pastries for Parents as well that will be rolling through that as well. So thank you, Melissa. So I'm going to go real quickly some of the administrative legal things that we've been dealing with. Last month we talked about a liability waiver in conjunction with doing events at district facilities. We have now, I've worked with Dr. Marino and the district's legal counsel to create a liability waiver that we can sign, basically assuming responsibility by our organization and absolving liability from the district and district employees and whatnot. So that's all done and good. Every booster organization has that for any event that has students in presence. It doesn't count for like meetings like this, or if we're setting up a table to do something or whatever, but if we're holding an event like Pastries for Parents or the spring event or whatever, we have that to fill out. So that's good. That's what kind of creates that separation and moves things along. Annual report is due April 1st, and PBUSA is going to be taking care of that for us. We've already paid the fee for that, and I was all ready to file it on my own, and then they said, oh, we'll do it. I'm like, done, great. Same thing with Illinois sales tax exemption. We're applying for that as well. I've been told that that might take some time, and they might even refuse it the first time because they like to have an organization up and running for a while before they grant them that exemption, but we're going to give it a shot, especially since there's no fee for it. So they're going to take care of that. That's all been signed off and sent over to them, so we'll see what happens with that. That's pretty much that. Bylaw updates. Last time we voted to move the elections to May to allow people from other schools to come. I updated those bylaws, put them back into our system so that Parent Booster USA has it for filings like our annual report and things like that that they need to attach that with. So that's all been done out there. I'll probably take the bylaws and repost them also to the Facebook account so people can see them if they want. But that was really the only change. Antioch Pizza fundraiser, as Melissa mentioned, we raised $156 from 43 visits. So that's kind of our bar. We have another one scheduled for April 29th. Hopefully we can break that. You know, see if we can get some more out there and maybe some more people out there. That would be great. So we'll want to spread the word as we go on there. I'm not going to really push that out until after spring break because people will forget about it. But it's a good thing to remember out there because that's 15%. That's a nice fundraiser. We've got Culver Scoopy Night coming up on Monday. That's from 5 to 8 p.m. I'm not going to skip through some of this stuff. We need 12 volunteers total for the event, and right now we are a little short in the 7 to 8 p.m. hour, actually, not counting Catherine and I who haven't signed up for it because we're just kind of assuming we're going to be there. We don't have anybody yet, so if there's anybody that can volunteer from 7 to 8 p.m. to help us, you know, we were planning on, my daughter was like, I'll help, you know, but technically you have to be over 16 years of age to help for it to count as a volunteer. So if we can get anybody that can help out in that 3 to 4 range, all the other times we're filled up, so that's great. But 10% of the proceeds go to us, and even if you can volunteer or not volunteer, please spread the word, and let's see if we can get a good showing out there for this event.
Does this include drive-through orders?
Yeah, it's basically any orders. So I don't even think you have to mention. I think it's any orders between 5 and 8.
Entire time, which is great.
Mhm.
From 5 to 8 p.m. There are people that are just coming there. It counts.
Yep.
Everything.
So hope it's a good flavor of the day.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get them to have something Oreo, I'm sure. So, but yeah, so that's great. So that's coming up here. And I'll be reaching out to anyone that volunteered with us to kind of coordinate, make sure everybody's lined up for it as we move on there. But I will probably be there the entire time. So anybody wants to join us, have some fun. All right. Scripps gift cards. I'm going to skip this real quick. Melissa talked about what we get for it. It's still ongoing. Our next order for physical gift cards, we're going to put in it on the 15th. I haven't seen a lot of action on this one yet. It could be that time of year that it's just not very popular. But if we can get people to go through it, it is a nice little revenue stream if we can get things going. So that's out there. Amazon Smile, we talked about that last time too. So if you've got an Amazon account, please feel free to use us on Amazon Smile. I'll post this again to our page as well to just kind of remind people that we have it out there. I know I've been using it, so we'll see if other people can use it as well and generate stuff. Now we only get paid off like, I think they only issue payments twice a year. I think it's May and September, I want to say. So, you know, and it's kind of hard to see how much we've earned, but we'll find out. You know, we'll see how it goes. It's not going to be a lot because what is it, 0.5%? But the more people we can get ordering through things through it, it's, you know, a nice little check that'll come in and can do something with it.
You're right. It is something with Oreo. It is double marshmallow Oreo.
Nice.
Next Monday.
Isn't it always something with Oreo? All right.
I think a lot of the time. Yeah.
All right. Update on playground equipment. Just to kind of give everybody an update. After our last meeting, I said I would check back because I hadn't heard back after I made the request to that board meeting. Had a little bit of discussion with Dr. Marino about it, going back and forth a little bit. And I made very clear that the boosters, we saw this as a maintenance issue more than anything else. You know, there was equipment that was deemed unsafe and they should be replacing that. But I was told by Dr. Marino that they would replace the equipment over the summer before school starts. Now, I was told that they will be replacing equipment at Petty and Oakland, so I don't know if Oakland had some of the same issues. And they just said the equipment. They didn't say what equipment or whatever, so I don't know what that all entails, but they're addressing it. We will be getting some new equipment, and it will be here before school starts next fall. So I consider that a win, and we'll kind of see how it goes from there. But so that maybe is something that we have to worry about. Oh, do we have to spend $15,000 or $30,000 to replace here? So that's great. The next topic is grants. We have been working to secure a grant from Baxter. And I think we can let Catherine kind of talk about this a little bit because she's an employee at Baxter and found this opportunity for us.
So, Baxter has a program called Dollars for Doers, and basically, anyone who works at Baxter can log their volunteer hours. Now, whether it's for a school or American Cancer Society, anything. And basically, we get 16 hours of paid time that we can use for volunteering. And then on top of that, we can log up to, I think, 50 hours a year. Now that obviously is unpaid as well, to apply for a grant. And each hour is $10 an hour, basically, that they pay for you. And so I went back and I logged all of my time that I do for the school here and for now Petty Bobcat boosters, and I applied for one for the time that I did in 2018, which I think was like 22 hours or something like that. So looking to get like a $220 grant. Right now it's in the approval phases.
And that's for 2018.
And that's for 2018. 2019 is going to be quite larger because of what we're doing here. So
But the cap is what, 500?
The cap is 500 per year, and basically you nominate. Now, even if I was to do like a different charity, I could still log that time and nominate Petty Bobcat Booster, any non-for-profit, to have the grant go to. So I encourage you guys. I didn't even know this existed. I kind of had to dig for the information at work. So if you guys work for a large employer, I guarantee you they probably have some kind of volunteer program like this. So look into it, see if they have something similar, because I'm sure doing it for the Bobcat Boosters. So
yeah. So the question that we have is, if other people have this employer or another option like this is a way that not only you can get paid time off to come and volunteer at the school.
Yeah.
You get paid to come and volunteer. That's pretty awesome. And we can earn some more donations for it too
Yeah.
at the same time. So
It's a win-win.
It's pretty awesome. So I encourage people, you know, if there's a way that you say, oh, I can't make meetings, or I can't do this, or I can't do that, look and see if this is an option out there, and maybe you can take advantage of it. So this is kind of cool. The way it worked is she set it up in her system as an employee and set it up. They contacted our group, and then we had to supply a bunch of tax information and whatever, and that's where we're at right now. We're pending approval of our organization, but hopefully then, once we're in the Baxter system, it'll make it easier for any other Baxter employees to do that as well. But I'm more than happy to go through all the steps and fill out all the information on these things all day long if we can get some grants and look at other ways that we can get some support for our organization from some of the corporations in Lake County. So, music concerts, we have the second grade concert coming up on March 21st. It's a Thursday. We've got 3 volunteers, so thank you, Andy, Melissa, and Amy, for volunteering. I think we've got more than enough there. I'll reach out to you guys and let you know kind of how we should do it. And this is our first one, so we can kind of do it. But I was just going to model it after what the band and orchestra boosters do, basically, which is I think $1 per ticket or an arm length. Yeah, something like that. So, and then we'll have that, and I've got tickets, and then normally just use plastic buckets, you know, pails, because those are easy to carry and walk around and do that. So it's really just from the time the doors open to the time that the concert starts. You don't sell during the concert, obviously, and then just do a drawing, and then we can. I'll talk to Miss Scheibly and see if she wants to make the announcement, or if she wants one of us to stand up and do that. But that'll be great. Hopefully we can get some funds on that, and that's pretty much it. So I'll follow up with more details on that to those volunteers. All right, so we talked about meeting with petty staff after talking about our volunteering. I went and spoke at a staff meeting back in February. I don't know what day it was, but it was the second half of February. I spoke about the basics of our group. I also introduced a new spirit competition for the staff, and the idea was that for the different things that they do to help support boosters, whether that be volunteering or putting notes about us in their newsletter, joining our Bobcat Booster Facebook group, Instagram, things like that, so that they're getting in touch and they're seeing our information and spreading that information. Other things that they do to help support Bobcats, the boosters, is in there as well. But what would happen is, as part of the spirit competition, we would kind of make set points for different things, and then add them up at the end of the month. And every month we are going to give away this lovely little Spirit of the Bobcat trophy, which is brand new this year. I know it's majestic and lovely, but it'll be traveling, and so it'll sit with them for a month and then go on from there. But the nice part is, when they receive that trophy, they will get a ticket that goes into a drawing that we'll have at the end of the school year for a $50 gift card from the boosters for the winner. And Joanna liked the idea so much that she offered to match and add a second $50 gift card for that as well. Next year we'll look at maybe doing 2 of the drawings or more. We'll figure that out, but this is how we're kind of going to get it started. So we did that. After the meeting, we did see a bunch of people join us on Facebook and different areas as well. So that was great. As for the Spirit of the Bobcat Award, it is for teachers and staff only. You earn points for volunteering, and that's the other thing. As part of the raffle, if you volunteer for an event, you get an automatic entry into the drawing. So that's how you can get into the drawing: volunteering for events or the winner of the trophy. You can also get it for attending meetings, even the Facebook Live, membership, sharing, likes, whether it's be newsletters, emails, Seesaw, Class Dojo, things like that, and class participation. We're also starting to add to all of our forms what class you're in, and we'll give out points for that too, for number of kids from your class that go in there as well. We also created an I Spy form. That's a Google form that you can go in and say, hey, I saw my kid's teacher sent this newsletter out, and do that. So we had something like 30 entries onto that form just in those like 2 weeks since we launched it at the end of February, and it was a short month. So with that, though, we'll talk about the Spirit of the Bobcat Award, and we'll talk about who won it, and we'll do a little leaderboard here. So in 5th place, Kathy Nemi had 30 points. So like I said, short month. It was only like 2 weeks. 4th place, we had Amy Turner with 38 points. 3rd place, we had Amber Scher with 39 points. You can tell it's a tight race here. 4th place, we had Lee Ryu and Joanna Gerritsen. I don't know that Joanna would want to be in on it, but I think she should deserve at least acknowledgement for attending meetings and the things that she does for us as well. And then this is where the race kind of really opens up. Our winner here, Miss Emily Peel. So congratulations. Come and accept your trophy.
Thanks.
For all you do for us.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
You're the best.
Maybe afterwards we can grab a quick picture to throw on Facebook. So.
I really worked hard and trying to get people here, not that,
Yeah.
I listen to it 8 hours a day, and I work for 8 hours a day.
Well, we appreciate it. I even had some students reporting the things that you were doing on there as well. So, so thank you for all you do for us, and hopefully we'll continue to see some good love for the Bobcat boosters from this. We also did a volunteer winner. So we took all the, we asked anybody that volunteered for any one of our things that we created signups for in the month of February. If you volunteered, you were entered into a drawing, and we held the drawing, and this is for a Fandango gift card. And our winner, hopefully, this is non-staff though. This is non-staff, so we filtered all the staff out since they're part of the other one on there, and we had posted this on the Facebook one. Our winner is Melissa Stager. So we'll be sending home an envelope to you with a gift card in there for volunteering for, she volunteered for a number of things actually. And one of them being that even though there is not a book fair anymore, it sounds like she's going to be interested in taking over the book fair when it comes back next year. So, so I had talked to her about that as well. It was completely random, I swear.
Yeah.
You were there, you saw it.
I picked it out of
We picked it out of a cup, yeah. So it just worked out that way. But we did have, I'd say, probably 40 entries in there. So we'll look at maybe doing things like that again as we move on. But there's our first one. All right, Spirit Store. I'm not going to dwell on this one too long, but right now we're waiting for the logo went into the board packet for them to look at. And I was told we should be good to go after Friday. So after Friday, I should have the go-ahead to do this. And what I'll do is I'll reach out then on Friday afternoon to the Spirit Store people and start getting that set up. So I've just kind of been waiting to make sure that, do they have to approve it? Do they not have to approve it? I think it's that they don't necessarily have to approve it, but it's kind of like a common courtesy to give it to them, show them,
Right.
make sure there's no major objections. So that's where we're at with that. So hopefully we'll get that up maybe by spring break, if not right after, we'll get that going. Topic of Staff Appreciation Week came up. I know that's the week of May 6th, the national one, I think it is. Melissa Moore, I know you volunteered to head this up. Some questions that we had were, does anybody else wish to help Melissa with this as well?
Stacy
And
is helping me with that.
what's that?
Stacy Dorman.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And then, wondering, is there anything else already planned? I don't don't know if like the PBIS committee is doing anything, or if the building is doing anything.
It's been Chris Keeler. You know, since we haven't had a parent organization, prior to that it was parent organization, or a parent would send out information asking for donation.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's done the last few years.
I was told to reach out to Chris too, and see if we could.
It's been her and
Should be.
her children and their, you know, friends helping, decorating, doing things and all that, but, yeah, I would talk with her.
Okay. So, hopefully maybe we'll get a little bit of an update maybe at the next meeting
Yeah.
about what we're planning to do and kind of go from there. So, all right, so we had a request come through. This is one I've seen before from my time at the Education Foundation. Jody Salata sent a request out to our group asking us for a donation to help fund summer school scholarships for those in need. The funds can be used for math and literacy classes that they have, and the transition camp and transportation. It can't be used for music and sports. I guess that no district or state funds are used for that program. They're asking all other districts, support organizations for funds as well, so the other boosters will be asking for it. I know that they normally ask the Education Foundation for funds for it as well.
They've also asked the head teachers union.
Okay. So,
Um,
so I'm sure that they're kind of just going out there with the cup, seeing what they can do. These costs that I have on the bottom, costs are $45 for transportation, $180 per period. So I guess you can have up to like 2 periods in the day. So maybe like one would be math and one would be literacy if you need to go to both. And then $85 for transitions. Now, I also got a follow-up email yesterday saying that these costs may not be set in stone. I think they're probably talking that they might have to raise the cost a little bit. But it is something that we can talk about and go from there. They do need the funds at the end, or at least I think need to know about the funds by the end of April. I think April 29th is the date, because they need to say, yeah, we can help you if you can't afford it or whatever it is. So this one we can open up for discussion a little bit more. One thing that I thought about was asking Petty to know, do they know how many students maybe have gone to it in the past to give us an idea, or do they know how many students are going to it, so we can maybe, if we want.
That's a per person, per child number, right?
Yes. So, yeah, it can definitely add up.
That's what I was thinking, I was wondering too, like in the past, I don't know how it works, but maybe they might ask the families if they can contribute part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Right.
so it wouldn't be, you know, maybe they could contribute $40 or $50
Mhm.
or whatever, so at least
Oh, right, or if we can
something.
contribute, you know, like if we figure out, okay, here's the number, and maybe we can only cover like a quarter of it, and then
Yeah.
we would just let the parents know, okay, with, it's only gonna be this much.
Either
instead.
that, or, you know, I went back to her, and basically they were just saying, whatever you can give helps. So even if we don't want to say, this is it, the only reason I was saying how many people, we could kind of get an idea of like, well, how much would Petty's portion of it be, and then what portion of that could we afford to give, you know? So the idea is not necessarily do we have to provide a scholarship on a per student basis or anything like that,
Right.
but how much money could we give to help support this? I think it's a worthy investment, and I get the need for it, especially if they're, you know, asking all different organizations for things like this. That's the way I think it would probably be better to do it, is just give them a flat amount and say, this is what we can do this year,
Do
you know?
you know that it will go to Petty students, or is it just any Antioch student going to summer school?
I don't know that one. I can't guarantee that. I think right now they're just looking for whatever money they can get to help fund the program.
And then I'm assuming, and I don't know, because I've never looked at any of the summer school paperwork, if they have a process for people to apply for those scholarships, or to know that people really need the scholarships.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those would just be two questions.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure with anything, kind of like anytime there's a hardship or something like that, somebody can't afford it, there's a process that they can go through to ask for
Probably
that.
similar to like if you get free or reduced lunch,
what I was
and that would
thinking.
carry through over to
Yeah.
summer school also.
I would just say first, like, yeah, here's all this money, and then none of our kids are going to that program.
Well, that's why I thought about, what's that?
I don't know what the numbers are.
Yeah.
I mean, there'd be more kids to, I would think, like transition, that's what my son did
Mhm.
when he was going over to Augs.
Well, yeah,
I'm
there'll
not
definitely be
sure.
transition kids.
Okay, so thank you, Meredith Wagner. People have to fill out a scholarship form, she said.
Okay.
Secretary.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, now we don't know what amount of our students would have, but even if we found out there was gonna be 30 kids, I don't think we can pay for necessarily all 30 kids or whatever, so that's why maybe it's better to just think about an amount
Set 'em out.
and then figure it out from there.
Maybe talk to the other booster organizations too, and maybe come up with a set number for all three. To kind of say we're all gonna contribute this, and
Okay, that's a good idea, but at the same time, I don't know the financials of other booster organizations like Oakland, who might be more flush with cash than maybe we are. You know what I mean? So I don't wanna
is it?
base it
on
based
the
off
school?
of that.
It is for the district.
Okay.
And it would have to be something that, you know, it could be recommended, but it's not required. I mean, if there's
Mhm.
kids that are required to go, then I would imagine parent, I don't know how that works, but there's certain kids, I think, then that's paid by the district. Those are usually kids, like special ed students, I know that they
Yes,
Mhm.
just
yeah.
that, and that would be different. But, so it is district-wide, and I don't know how many students go, I don't even know the percentage.
Mhm.
Interesting to find out, I think we need to find out more information.
Okay, so should we say fair, since they don't need to know the information until the end of April, should we work to try to get some more information on this and then come back to it with one or two proposals on our April meeting, and then we'll just commit, we'll make a vote on that April meeting, and we'll make a decision there so that they know what to do for the end of April? Okay, that's what we'll do. I'll go back, find out more information that I can get. I'll reach out to Joanna to see if she's got any information about past years from that and go from there. Do we want me to reach out to the other booster organizations and do that, or?
So, Meredith chimed in again. She said, honestly, a set amount is probably the best, depending on what funds are available. The money is distributed to the most needy. If families can pay anything, they are asked to.
Okay.
So, just
So,
thank you again.
woohoo, Facebook Live. Does that change what we want to do at this point, though? Do we want to make a decision here and now, or do we want to table it until?
We might wanna
April
find
2nd.
out,
Right.
like, still. like,
Because it might
number of
impact,
students have gone to
do we
class,
give
maybe number of students.
$500, or do we give
Yeah.
1,000, or do we
Right.
give more?
If we get more information, we can put a better amount to what would be most helpful and what we can afford, we can.
And then we can look at the budget a little bit more and stuff too, to see.
I just like to know if it's able,
If it's
obviously
for
the
petty
neediest
students.
kids need it, but I would hope that our money could go to our students.
Okay, we'll find out. We'll find out. I can ask that. So I'll ask all that information. I'll come back to our April meeting. We'll make a decision then. But are we kind of in agreement? This is something we definitely want to look at, and we definitely want to try to find a way to support.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. So I will reach back out to them and say, we're gonna figure out a way to do something, we just don't know yet, and we're trying to figure out the scope for it. So, all right, great. So this brings us to the topic of the assembly. We had this in our budget, so we have some money allocated towards this. We've got three options here that we can look at. There's some concrete information, there's some stuff that's kind of moving around. But one option is from Mobile Ed Productions, and it's called Crime Scene Science. The cost for that is $7.95, and they'll do up to, I think they said 4 assemblies in a day if we wanted to, for that cost of $7.95. Dates they have available are May 13th, 14th, 15th, 29th, and 31st, because I don't think they're necessarily local. I think they're coming out of Missouri or something. So they're going to be in that area, in our area. They can do it on those days, and they kind of come through and talk about forensic science and things like that. So that was something that was looked at as an option. Option 2 is something that's maybe a little bit more along the lines of fun, I would say, maybe a little less educational, and that's from Game Show Gurus, and they do what's called a versus. So the cost for that is $8.95, and then $300 for each additional assembly that they do. So if we wanted to have 2 assemblies, the cost of that would be $11.95. If we wanted to do 4 different assemblies, 1 for each grade level, it would be $17.50. They suggest that you have 150 kids per assembly, just to make sure that, there's comfortable there. I didn't know if we could go back to them and say, could you get like 200 in an assembly, and would it work? And I can totally do that. They're local, they're out of Schaumburg, so they've got a little bit more availability, and so their thing was saying they've got availability in April and May. Earlier days in the week, so like Monday, Tuesdays are a little bit better than like Thursday, Fridays for them, but they have some availability, and they basically said, what days are you looking for? So that would be something, if we were interested in them, we would have to, with any of these, we'd have to coordinate with the school and find out what days would work. But that's an option, and that's kind of where everybody gets a chance to participate and be up in these teams, answering questions and doing kind of like trivia challenges and things like that.
So how many assemblies would Petty need? How many kids are
Well, one thought was we could do it by grade level if we had to do it, break it down. The other one could be maybe we could do 2, 3 together, and then 3, 4 if they could accommodate
Larger.
a little bit number, like 200 kids.
We have a little over 100 in 4th grade, because
There's 430 kids total
I knew.
at Petty, so
Yeah.
so I think if
Yeah, that
you could
would
do a
work.
2 and 2, I think it would work out.
Well, we have to think about too of the impact of like our specials, because we have the one space,
Mhm.
which is really just the gym. So if we did it like 4 assemblies, that would really
Mess up everything.
That's the thing. We got to think about lunch. I mean, there's
Mhm.
a lot of it's
Yeah.
like this domino effect.
Well, we were still gonna talk about possibly getting access to the new gym, weren't we?
We were gonna bring that up to see if that was available, maybe even for our spring event. So
Right.
that's something we'll have to follow up with
Well,
Joanna
that's
with.
possible. Then
Right,
it
and
would
if
be an issue.
Right, if it's possible just to have just the assembly or our spring event, and then we can have it totally
How that
separate.
works.
I don't know.
Less
I don't know.
disruptive.
We'll see. I don't know if it's
Is it
ready.
done?
Don't know.
I'm not really sure.
Don't know, but we figured it was worth asking.
Right.
So,
I know building laws is if there's one thing that's not done.
right,
there-
if they don't have occupancy
Yeah.
permit,
Motion
yep,
is not
Yeah.
letting anybody in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
totally get it. So, but that's something we could look at there. There's a third option here that we were looking at, and that's with Hagerman the Magician, and he's got a few different programs. He's got an extreme science, a math magic, and a sound of silence one. The cost would be $10.75 for 2 assemblies. He was asking in that 200, 250 max per assembly. I don't know availabilities of this gentleman as well, but these are some of the options that we had for it. Any thoughts on any of the let's talk about the content about it. I know it's kind of tough to say, but based off of this, but is there an overwhelming thought between pure fun and a little bit more science or educational based, I guess?
Well, my only question was the one about the guru, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would it be? I'm guessing they must do. They do them for school. So if they do second, third, it has to be questions that would be
Mhm.
geared toward. So
When I
yeah.
found the people for Game Show Gurus, they were listed as best assembly. I went to a site that had them broken down by grade levels,
Okay.
and they were listed for elementary school and moving on from there. But
I mean, that one sounds fun because it's interactive. Or like other ones, sometimes what they typically do is call a few random kids up,
Mhm.
do something, and everyone else watches.
mhm.
So if kids have more opportunity to participate, I think that would be more fun for them.
Mhm.
So,
Well, and I think the point of having the assembly in possibly April or May is because it's heavy testing, right?
That's what I had heard. I know
now
there's gonna.
our testing is starting actually next week.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
saw all the emails come through.
Yeah, we
I was
talked
like,
about it
uh-oh.
So our state testing is starting next week. It'll be next week and the following week.
Mhm.
So, but then of course we're doing
was heavier with fifth graders too at the end of the
No,
year?
actually, one thing, it's, we all have the same amount, so
Okay.
we all have 5 tests, like, last year, I don't know if it was different by grade level, but we had 7 tests in 4th grade, so
Ooh.
there's 3 math tests and 2, and it's not for 2nd grade, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 2 ELA tests,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, they're a long period of time, like, the math is 60 minutes, the ELA is 90 minutes.
Oh my.
Mhm.
Pretty intense. So, but, 5th grade does have another test too, that they do, you know, so there may be more testing,
Mhm.
but something different, there's a lot of
Right.
testing.
So, well, that was just kind of the information that I had when we were
Mhm,
talking
yes.
with Mrs. Halterman about the original request for the author, and I know that they're bringing an author still.
We have an author coming
Oh.
in.
So Mrs. Rivera said 5th grade has COGAT and another science
COGAT,
year in addition
yes.
to all of the regular testing.
That was the word.
One
I
day
was searching
each.
for. So, yeah,
Mhm.
they do that test, and then they do have a science test.
So, I think the thought was, let's maybe provide, even though they're gonna bring in, you know, author one, I think it was a writing one or something
Thanks,
like
Mrs.
that,
Rivera.
out there. Maybe we still wanted to do an assembly that's a little more fun, you know, for the kids, as kind of a spirit break type thing.
I mean, I think that game show sounds fun, in my opinion, and the fact that more kids can participate, if we divide it up, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and it works with the schedule, I think that sounds like,
Okay.
yeah, that's just my sense.
Does everybody kind of agree with that?
Yeah.
All right, so what I'll do is I will talk to Mrs. Garrettson about this and find out, can we do 2 assemblies? And if we can do it, I'll reach back out to these guys and say, hey, can we, you know, do it if it's a little bit more than, if it's like 200 kids per assembly? And then, you know, try to find out days that might work and make sure, see if we can get this going. So, if not, maybe we'll, since we are running out of time, I don't know if we can wait till the April meeting to do this. Maybe we'll follow up on this going forward, but we'll look at this option and kind of go from there. So, all right. Great. All right, spring break movie event. Caitlin, I know you had some conversations, so I'll let you take it from here.
So I reached out to the Antioch Theater, and we have decided we are going to do an event. They're totally fine with that. It'll be a private event just for us. They're willing to sign a contract, so there'll be no confusion about what's going on and what the rules are this time. They said $9 per ticket, whether it's an adult or a child. I believe it's going to include a popcorn and a drink, but just one of each
Great.
per group. And it will be $2 per person will come back to us. They have never done an event like this before, so they're super excited. The owner of the theater was the one I was speaking with, and then his event person. And they said, for sure, it'll be Captain Marvel will be the one movie option. They're gonna get back to me on what the second option will be. But if we aren't happy with either option, we can bring in a DVD and they'll play that. They'll play whatever we have on DVD for us.
Great.
If we wanna do that.
Oh, so they're using both the theaters?
Yes.
Oh, very nice.
The one is smaller, and
Yeah.
then the other
Yes.
one is.
And so if we wanna do, 2 showings, whatever, however, basically the whole place is ours. We just have to decide on the date, and we decided, I think we talked about doing the 25th or the 26th, the first Monday or the Tuesday of spring break. They would prefer us to do something more early afternoon, because that's when they're not as busy, but they do have open hours during spring break, because it's for the district. They are open, but
Okay.
they're going to keep it just for us, for our event, which, for
Cool.
whenever we decide to have it.
Okay.
And that's $9 a ticket, and that includes a popcorn and a drink?
Yeah,
That's a good price.
yeah, I believe that is what we discussed. I tried to reach out to him one more time just to double check, but he didn't answer. So I'm gonna call him tomorrow morning and regroup on our
Okay.
decisions and
Well,
stuff.
write
so-
down whatever information you guys have. I know you guys have worked really hard on this. What you've come to it with, and what I can do is I can just draft something that says this is kind of what we're doing,
Yeah.
what we're agreeing to,
Yeah,
and then you can use that just to verify with it. Once we have that verified,
I
we can
did.
get a flyer. And
Yeah,
just
I
like, you know,
did,
I saw
yeah.
I saw the email string, and for parts of it, but I didn't know about the
Yes.
popcorn and the drink
Yeah,
and the
that-
dates and the times though.
Yeah, well,
But
then I
have all of
figured we
that.
can kind of discuss here, what day would we prefer to do it? Do we wanna do it on Monday, or do we, I know you guys are gonna be gone, so you don't
I'm in
count.
Florida, so
Yeah.
whatever you guys decide is
Monday
fine by
or
me.
Tuesday, I mean, there's not gonna be a whole lot of work for us, whoever decides to kind of run it or whatever. I'm initiating, I don't mind being there, but really, they're getting paid for the tickets, they're doing all that, it's just somebody's gotta be there to have them write you a check or hand you some cash before we all leave, is really all it's gonna boil down to, so I will be there regardless, I just,
We can settle up after. I mean, it doesn't have to be that they have to hand
Well,
us the
right.
cash when we leave
well,
either.
right, but.
Kind of like Antioch Pizza, if they send it there, as long as we have an agreement in place, I'm fine
Right,
with that,
yeah.
you know? But I do think that there should be somebody from Boosters there.
Yeah, well, I will definitely be there, I just,
Okay.
if somebody else wanted to be part of it, I don't wanna pick a day that's good for me, I mean, I'm open pretty much anytime, so,
You're running it, so. It's fine by me if you
Well,
want
I
to pick a
mean,
day that works
I'm
for you.
okay with, I would prefer Tuesday versus Monday,
I was
Sunday,
thinking
Saturday,
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
I agree with Tuesday.
Yeah. Saturday's
around.
Wyatt's birthday, and then Sunday we're taking him to medieval times for his birthday, so Monday I might be a little tired. But Tuesday would be good then.
Have you
And-
been to medieval times?
No.
He's gonna love it.
Well, we got him like the ultimate package, so he gets
Gonna love it.
announcements and it's his birthday
Aw.
celebration and all that, yeah.
Hopefully he's not listening.
Oh, he's already warned that he's going to be embarrassed to have it.
One time we'll be able to eat with his fingers and you can't get one.
Right.
All right.
But, and then time frame, what time frame do we wanna work with?
I like the idea of having it during the day as
Yeah.
something to do
Yeah.
during
Yeah,
the
I
day
like
for the
that.
family.
Mhm.
But that's really up to you guys
Okay.
to figure out,
Whatever
and then
works best
whatever
for them
works for
Okay.
them too. You know what I mean?
before.
I'm not gonna be picking it. I just need the information so I can create
Yeah.
the flyer and get it out.
Yeah,
That's
well, and I
fine.
told them I would be
Breakfast.
back in contact with them after our meeting
I was
this
thinking
evening, once we
around 10. I was
discussed
thinking
everything,
around
and then
10,
we'll
yeah.
get all the
Yeah,
fine
I
tooth
think
comb
10 is
stuff
a
and
good
I'll
time.
send it over to you.
All right, so I'm hearing calls for 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Okay,
Remember, she's not a morning person.
So that way you're.
10 a.m. is not the morning.
So at least you're done
10 a.m.
before lunch, then probably.
Before
So,
lunch, yeah.
Yeah.
all right. Any other?
Or breakfast for that.
I know.
matter.
What's your fourth
Any
one?
other questions?
And
or-
Ray, you'll make a fancy flyer.
I'll make a fancy flyer for it and get it out. So hopefully,
Well-
if we can settle on it, we'll either get it out either early this week or we'll get it out
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, well, and at first they were kind of hesitant about like giving us the whole theater, and then I'm like, well, see, we did this bowling thing,
Mhm.
and they had to turn people away. And he's like, oh yeah, you can have the theater, no
Yeah.
problem.
All right,
Well,
well, good.
they were really easy to work with.
And
Great.
we'll push it to anybody that wants to come. It doesn't have to be petty families. It can be anybody that wants to join up for it. 'Cause
Yeah.
we'll take $2 for whoever wants to show up. So,
You're right.
all right, cool. Anything else on that one? Good.
I think we're good. Yeah.
All right. All right, now this is where we go into our deeper dive topics. So, Pastries with Parents is coming up. We've got it set for March 20th from 7:45 a.m. to 8:30. The cost is $5 per adult. Kids are free, we've decided. Registrations to date, I have a nice big fat TBD there because we had an amount, and then when I came in and checked our mailbox before the meeting, we had a huge stack. So we'll have to get back to you guys and find out what we have there for people that have gone on. Our RSVP date is March 13th, so we're doing a push here to try to get people to RSVP by then so we know how much food to buy and kind of go from there. We have 11 parent and teacher volunteers to help make this work. We had asked for 12, so that's great. We've got set up serving and cleanup. So thank you to Catherine, Stacy, Emily, Amy, Dory, Lisa, and Melissa. There's so many Melissas I had to actually write in her last name because there's too many Melissa S's. So we had to write that one in. But so thank you for everyone for volunteering. Yeah, I think it should be a fun event.
Yep.
So, but Catherine and I will be taking care of going, and once we know the RSVP days or how many people have RSVP'd and the head count, we will go out and purchase the things and bring it there. And so it should just be pretty easy.
And in
to
the
set up.
past, we would have games, and so I can talk
Yes.
to teachers about, maybe my daughter and their friends after school, the day before, we can go around and pick
Mhm.
up games.
I have
And
a
then have
giant kerplunk
since you've been at some of these events before, do you mind assisting and kind of giving us some guidance how we should set up the gym? Because I was told for any of these events, if we just kind of draw up a little map and provide it to the school, they will make sure it's set up the way that we need set up. So if that's something you could help out with, I would very much
Yeah,
appreciate that,
we're
because
clueless.
yeah, I really don't know. So
In the tail on the teacher.
Yeah.
We're all about that.
I can get you a map.
yeah, perfect. All right, so that's the Pacers, the parents events. We're going to continue to promote that, and hopefully this will be a nice success with very few complaints. All right, so that brings us to our spring event. This one probably we're going to spend a bunch of time on. We've been meeting on this a little bit, and I know there's other people that have signed up for committee, and we're just kind of wanted to lay the foundation, get some of the working parts in, and then bring everybody in after this. But we've set a date, Saturday, April 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. We are doing an 80s theme for this event. We have a DJ under contract with lights for the event. We have an inflatable light up photo booth that we will have there with unlimited prints and digital photos that you can have after the event as well. We talked about having like a raffle, so like 50-50 raffles, or if we have other prizes, we could raffle some prizes off throughout the evening. Auctions, we want to do the silent auctions where maybe the classrooms, not maybe, hopefully the classrooms each put together a basket and we can put those out there and do that. If there's other things that we can auction off as well, I've seen things like sit in the teacher's chair for the day, or PE assistant for the for a classroom period, things like that that people can auction off for those types of things. I know some of those are some of the PBIS rewards, but maybe it's just like giving them a certificate for that. But it's a chance to try to make a little extra money. You're gonna get that trophy again next month, aren't you?
When they want my chair, they come up and they're like,
Yeah.
steal. I'm like, oh.
We've talked about some community discounts and then also serving snacks, which would pretty much all be off of that district snack list. We'll just have like chips, pretzels, candy. No, not food, but water, soda, and then bagged or packaged, individually packaged snacks. Well, I'll get into that in a minute, but we'll have that there as well. So, some of the theme ideas we talked about 80s. Two of the topics that we had, and this is kind of the idea for it, is
The
either
name.
name spring back to the 80s or totally awesome family date night. Kind of going at it. Any thoughts on what anybody likes? Going around the room, anybody like anything like that?
I like the date night.
So we helped it narrow it down to two, so everybody else was
Yeah.
we couldn't decide.
I like the date night.
Yeah.
The date night does also say
The whole
it's a family dance, not just for kids or whatever. This is that kind of event. I guess it does fit with the 80s theme pretty well. One thought with the spring back to the 80s maybe was we could call, if we did this as an annual thing, it could be spring back, and then maybe next year if the theme is 50s or spring back, whatever, you just always call it spring back, and then you insert the theme of it from year to year. So I think that was kind of why we settled on those two things, but
See, now that
Doesn't
I'm
mean-
sitting here looking at it, we could do totally 80s family date night and still do a totally 50s or totally hippie or totally whatever and make it
Or
still
groovy.
Yeah,
Right.
groovy.
Yeah.
Just break down the Brady Bunch.
so there we go.
And then the family night, date night, you can also open up to other things like a Western family date night or something.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Have to be at that gate's theme.
Yeah, that's true.
Change
Yeah.
the beginning part.
So yeah, we could do that with either of them then. That works
Yeah.
there. So is the idea that people like the totally awesome family date night?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right,
Cool.
cool. That's our official name for the event. Woohoo! We got one thing done for this. So I mentioned on there there's some opportunities for fundraising here, and these are just some talks, some points for us to talk about. I talked in there a little bit about community like discounts or things like that. I've reached out to Anastasia's, and Anastasia's is going to offer, and we'll put this on the back of every ticket or somewhere on the ticket that they get. that if they bring their ticket to Anastasia's, they'll get 15% off their bill all day at Anastasia. So whether it's
Lunch, dinner.
lunch,
whatever.
dinner, after the event, you get 15% off with your ticket that day of. I also reached out to Antioch Flower Shop about setting up a way for if people want to get flowers for, wrist corsage or a boutonniere for their kids. And we set some prices based off of their cost and getting us some profit. That comes back to us. We'll get $1 for each order. And the prices are $10 for a pin-on boutonniere and $15 for a wrist corsage. And they just need like 10 to 14 day lead time on the orders. And then they can go pick them up, pay for it, and then we'll settle up with them afterwards for it. But we'll have kind of like a pre-order with that as well if people want to do that. So some fundraising ideas. We can obviously sell our snacks. We've got the 50-50 raffle, the silent auctions. We talked about maybe doing slips of paper that for $1 you can get a slip of paper and then you can fill out what song you want. You bring that to the DJ and they'll play the song that you're looking for. So kind of like a jukebox kind of style, but they'll work it in there. So, and then here's the one that we'll probably need to talk about maybe a little bit the most, and this is I think where we've probably had the most debate in talking so far, is pricing for the tickets. So we've rolled out 2 models here. One model is that tickets are $8 per person with a cap of $30 per family. With that, you get a couple little tickets that you can redeem for a snack and a water, or a snack and a pop, or something like that. So you get a beverage and a snack. The other option would be $7 per person, no snack. Just a flat $7 per person. We charge for the snacks at the event. Now, obviously, we would still charge for snacks, but if somebody came with their tickets, you give them their free one. If they want more than that,
Above and beyond that.
then they can purchase them and go from there. We also have the idea that we'll add $2 if you just come to the door and want to come in. So your ticket price is more expensive at the door than if you pre-order. And you don't get them. There will be no group rate at the door if we decide to do the group rate. So this is where we're going to open it up to discussion. Is there any thoughts about the cost structure?
And this does include your pictures.
Yeah.
Your print.
It includes everything else. You get your 15% at Anastasia's. You get your pictures, unlimited pictures. We'll probably do some kind of a little giveaway of some sort for them as well.
Like
we
a
talked about like a
favor,
favor,
yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
glow sticks or something like that, or maybe those little sunglasses with the little lines that go through them in neon colors, whatever they are, but something that's more geared towards the kids that they can have when they come there. And maybe that is something that we work into one of the activities that I was thinking about, but everybody would still get one. So any thoughts on the differences between the cost structures or objections?
I like the $7. It's less intimidating on paper, and then they can, okay, well, I only spent $7, and then they can do the 50-50 and the silent auction and everything else. But I only have a family of 3,
Mhm.
My husband's
and
never
see, I'm
home,
looking
so.
at it
My family
as
is
most
6.
families of 4 look like right away, you pay the $8, you're saving $2.
Mhm.
Right.
That's what I thought,
So it's gonna be for that family, but it's kinda like one of those, if it's a
Could
family
we
of 4.
have an
what-
option where it'd be like $7 per person, no snacks, and then like a family rate? I mean, could we have both, or would that be too confusing?
I think it's getting too complicated at that point.
Well, because then it gets confusing, because if you say a family rate $30, then a family of 3 is gonna be like, well, it's cheaper for me to pay the $7,
Mhm.
you know?
Well, and that's fine. If it's ever cheaper, you take the cheaper
Right.
route. But really, what it is setting a cap that you wouldn't have to go
So
above
if you've
that.
got 6 people in your family, you don't have.
First of all, so the $8 per person, is that 2 snack tickets per person? Or is that?
Per ticket.
Per ticket.
So it'd be a
you're
drink and a
so you're
snack per
charging
ticket.
$8 per person, and you're giving them, say, $2 worth of snack to each person.
Well, what I would say is for the $30, you would get 4. It's like a 4-pack, kind of is what we're doing, right? For the snacks. So if you're getting the
4
snacks,
tickets for snacks.
yeah. So even if you have 5, sorry,
You
you're
get
only
one
getting
drink ticket
4
per person
4
and
vouchers
one
for the
snack
snacks.
ticket.
You know.
Okay, that's what I was getting at, because I mean,
Yeah.
then I look at the boosters, we start kind of at that point where we're losing a little bit.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. The other thing that we talked about is also setting this up for online sales. And there's some ways that we can do this. There's a few different methods that we can do it as well. We were trying to figure out what the best was, balancing what we get charged for each one and what our other options are and things like that. I still need to verify the method that we're choosing. Can we do this and do the group rate as well? So that's kind of up in the air a little bit, but I'm going to try to make it work.
How about we just do the $7 per person, no snacks? But then you can do, or if we can figure out, what kind of snacks we're gonna have and what our cost is, and we figure out what we're gonna sell these snack tickets for, we can pre-sell snack tickets at a little bit like a 20% discount.
Kind of like going to a carnival where you can buy your tickets ahead of time.
Yeah.
And
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Or, $15 for a wristband. Well, no, because these kids will eat everything.
Yeah. No.
They would all be
So.
saying
$100 for a wristband.
Well, and see, that's the hard part, because I want people to show up, because we're doing things like the silent auction and other things to get money here. So I don't want people to not come because they think it's too expensive to come. You know what I mean?
Are you gonna have like a minimum age probably too? Like, obviously, geared towards the elementary school, but you probably don't wanna
We don't need a bunch of Scarlets.
Yeah.
There's too many.
Or even just
risking-
like, not paying for every, $8
No,
per
that's.
person,
I think what he's
$3.
saying is that under age 3 is free. Or
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
I didn't even
Yeah.
think of that, but yeah,
Yeah,
you're
we can do
right.
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
but honestly, if you go out with your family and go somewhere, even to just like do something,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Right.
You know, so.
Can you bring your family for $30?
You can't go to the carnival.
No.
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 Two
For under
people
40
can't
bucks,
get
and that's gonna get you
wristbands.
kids 4 rides.
For 2
You're
hours?
Still paying $9 for a lemonade, so.
So the daddy-daughter dance was $8 per person. Now you weren't bringing the whole family; it was you and however many daughters you have. So
Right.
bare minimum, you were in for $16 for 2 people. So that's why I think we kind of said, "What's that?"
Did they have snacks?
They,
Mm.
yeah, they did. I didn't look to see what they had. Normally, it's like you get like an ice cream novelty and like a glass of pop. Now, and I think that I don't think you were they had like a hard limit, but I think it was encouraged that you have one, and that's it.
Daughter dances.
Yeah,
Yeah, I went to my daughter's when she was 3 in preschool. It cost me $30
yeah,
to get through the door.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and you had to wear a suit. You had to buy her a $400 dress.
Oh.
Well, that's just the way I was married too. I'm sorry.
But is there a preference for? I mean, so we've had some talks here. So we've talked about the flat $7 and then pre-order snacks, which I think is a great option. The other option is the $8 with the limit of you get 2 tickets per ticket, or if you do the $30 group rate, you get 4 tickets that you can break up however you want between your group of people. And then we're saying that kids under 3 are free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I think if we can do it with the online sales, that $30 family cap, if we can do the separate
Mhm.
ones, I think that would be probably the most beneficial. A lot of families are bigger, and it'll save them a few bucks to get into the door. But if we can't do it separate, if we couldn't do it separate, then how would we sell the tickets?
Well,
and
the
then-
other way that we could do it is, even if we set it out $7 per person, no snacks, if you wanted the $30 rate, we could have to take those all manually. You know what I mean? As part of the flyer that we send home. Like, listen, if you want more than 4 tickets and you want the $30 group rate, you can go here. But if you want the convenience of paying online, sorry, you're gonna have to buy it individual per ticket.
My
Yeah.
whole question would be, is it worth even the hassle? I mean, you're paying $7, a family of 4 is gonna pay $7. Well, I
Mhm.
guess the $30 package, that's your family of 5 or whatever. that
Mhm.
you said,
Oh, but you
so-
get
Right, but if
snacks.
we're doing the $8 a person, 4 people would
Yeah,
already
but
be.
snacks, so at $7 a person, if you're a family of
But-
4, it's $28, you're getting $2.
And my
So
thought
easy.
for it was
$7
for
is something like
snacks,
that.
if we're having water or cans of pop or whatever it is we're having those into, I was thinking $1 each.
Yeah, it's
Just
fine.
make it a simple flat fee. This is what it is. You get it for $1. You can have one of anything. If you want a snack and a thing, it's $1.
Yeah.
So
And
that's why I was.
I feel like with the online too, if you couldn't do like a family
Mhm.
option, wouldn't it be easier overall to have one set price? Cause to have the
Yes.
online ordering
Mhm.
with one set price, than
Mhm.
to have, you know.
It's gonna.
The family option's nice,
Mhm.
you know, but if we're not, like, if we have to change the whole way we're gonna do the online ordering,
Yeah.
it seems like more
Yeah.
hassle than it's
Okay.
worth. You know, so it's a nice, like, if they can do it, that's awesome. If not, I think you just do the one set price.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that,
One set price of 8 or 7? What do we?
I still say that if we're gonna do $7, there's no snacks.
Right.
If you're gonna do $8, you get the snacks. You get your 2 snacks per ticket.
Well, a drink and a snack, whatever.
Well, whatever it is.
Whatever you want to have.
If they're the same price, I don't care. If somebody wants
Yeah.
2 bags of pretzels,
You
whatever.
get 2 tickets to spend however you want.
2 food tickets. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, and the way that we do it is we can either, when they check in, we can give them 2 tickets that they can spend on it, or what we can do is we can just have a puncher that we punch their ticket and say, okay, you've got your 2 things.
Oh, I
You
see,
know.
on the ticket.
Mhm. So there's a couple different options on how we can handle it. But so I would say between that, if we leave the group rate off, is there a feeling between $8 per person or $7 per person with or without the snacks?
Except for other people that are paying.
Well, technically, if you're doing $8, you're actually coming out ahead by a snack.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
I vote 7, no snacks. I vote 7, no snacks.
I feel like that would be easier to just overall to implement.
Yeah, let's just
Okay.
do
And not
$7
handing
Just no
out
snacks?
tickets and stuff like
Great.
that.
So if you don't wanna mess
I
around,
agree.
Yeah.
I was really
Unanimous.
hoping for that.
Unanimous. Okay.
Nobody has, the people wanting the snack counter, don't worry about the tickets. They're collecting
Yep,
the same
okay.
amount for-
Yep.
Fantastic. All right.
You could, I mean, are we gonna do the cap at 30 then? If your family's bigger than 4, you're paying them 1/3?
I don't. I mean, we talked
$7
about.
per person
Can you
period.
do that? I think it's just $7 per person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
I'm
can
good with
affect
that.
the kids.
$7 per person, but if you've got a kid that's under 3, they're free.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it that way.
Okay. All right. So then here are other considerations that we'll need to discuss, and this is something that we can take off into the committees a little bit more. Volunteers, how many do we need for the different things that we need to run? Decorations, what do we kind of want to do for that? Online ordering, well, we talked about that, so that's a little bit more simple now. I can set that up. One benefit of this is if I set this up the way that we're going to, we'll have a PayPal account. So if like somebody wins an auction and wants to give a card right then and there, so we don't have to chase it, we'll be able to enter that right there. We'll also be able to enter people at the door if they want to pay with a card. So,
Oh, credit card?
yep.
You have a square reader?
It won't be a square reader, it'll be entering it in manually through PayPal. Because that costs more money. Not to have the account.
Oh.
The reader might be free, but the account is a little different. There is a little bit of a fee that we'll take on some of it. It's like, it's about 5% that we lose on the online sales, but if it's easier and it makes it nicer, that's fine, done. So talking about giveaway type thing, you know, we've mentioned glow sticks or whatever, that's something we can talk about as well. One thought that I had was maybe have a game, and this could maybe tie into decorations. I thought maybe having a scavenger hunt for the kids, and maybe part of the decorations is we have different things that are 80s related from the area, and the kids have to go and find those. Kind of like if you've ever been mini golfing and you have to spy this or whatever. And maybe some of that even helps them, like they have to talk to their parents about things from the 80s to answer a question or something like that to get it. Yeah, exactly. Well, whatever it is, you know.
70s.
So, yeah. Other things, and then talking about the discounts for Anastasia's and the flowers. So there's that one. So I'm not going to dwell on that. We'll bring this off to the committee. We'll come back at April. There'll be plenty more that we'll have discussed by then, and we'll pretty much have it all sewn up, hopefully by April. All right. So our last topic, and this is one that I don't know how far we'll get with this today, but I wanted to bring it up. This is something that has come up last month. There was some talk about support for families in need. We had a request come in, and it was for a student whose family is struggling after dealing with some health problems and financial problems related to those health problems, and what can we do? So it was kind of brought to us as a dire need. So we the board reacted and did something short term to get things going. But it brings up, how do we address this moving forward? Is this something that we want to do? Is there something that we want to do to set up maybe a fund that comes out of this that we set aside for when things like this come in? Is there a standard way that we want to treat requests like this that come in and go from that? What level of interaction do we want to do? So this is where I'm going to open it up and just kind of get people's thoughts on what level of high level does the boosters want to get involved in these kinds of situations.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna do any kind of a monetary anything, there should be a step limit regardless. Like, whether we decide it's $50 or whatever it is, and then give them, if they are asking for food, okay, here's the contact information and the hours of the food pantry. Or if they're looking for, financial help with rent or whatever, okay, here is Catholic Charities and their information, other ways, other resources. Right, with here's, and not like, here's a $50 check, it's, here's $50 Walmart gift card, or, something, a gift card, not just cash.
I agree.
Well, and to be clear, when we responded to this particular request, what we did is, it was brought to our attention, it was brought up as dire. So we stepped up and gave a $100 Walmart gift card, and I asked that the person that made the request from the school, asking on the family's behalf, I said, I'm assuming that you will be reaching out to them with ways that they can get help and contact other organizations.
Yeah.
And I even listed a few of the places that they can go to, like the National Hunger Hotline and different things like that. So we did kind of go down that route. We were talking about maybe doing more because of that, but then we kind of pulled back a little bit and said, whoa, how much do we need to get involved here and things like that. It could be as simple as, well, maybe we start up just a meal train for that family or things like that. I know there are some questions about food safety with that and other things along those lines, but I just want to see what the thoughts of are, and maybe we need to set up a group to talk about this offline and come up with a couple solutions and then come back to the group and go from there. But this is something I really wanted us to start thinking about, and that's what this was really about more. I mean, we can have some more discussion on it if we want, but really talking about how we handle this going forward and kind of making sure there's a plan in place when things like this come up, because we'll probably get more requests like this. And I think this one kind of caught us off guard a little bit. So, I don't know.
I'm gonna try and not sound like a jerk here. I don't wanna give so much that it's something that people end up depending on. Because if they're in that much of a need, there are, food stamps and medical, there's all those other outlets if they need it that much. But I don't wanna not help. But I don't want it to be so much that they feel like, oh, well, we're gonna get this, so, eventually it's gonna be something that, well, I mean, not everybody, but some people may end up, taking advantage of it or becoming dependent on it or
There needs to
relying.
be a process of some sort.
Mhm.
In this particular case, I know more about it, but, it's a situation because of this medical. It isn't like, and so,
Right.
and there are a lot of things that our school already does to help people other ways, and there's a lot of different resources too. And I think there needs to be a process, because probably the person might have contacted you with probably maybe like a social worker at our school or something like that. So we have to think about process for
So I think if it's like a medical thing, and you know that there's gonna be a lot of, you're gonna be gone, and you're gonna be, no one's gonna be around. You do wanna set up more of a maybe,
Mhm.
but maybe a job layoff, or say,
Yeah.
okay, well, we could provide A, B, and C, but there's also resources A,
Sure.
B, Z, you know, so, you know, just like the initial help, as long as it's within means, you know, within a cap, and as long as it's, I think, really pertaining to more of a food and clothing
I think
sort
you
of
can do,
deal,
I
yeah.
think you can
Essentials,
set
yeah.
aside
Yeah.
you know, start a budget for it or
Mhm.
whatever, in case it does come, but like everybody's saying, you know, you do it to where, well, if someone loses their job and now they're out of touch, they don't know where to go. You say, okay, we can get you X amount for a few days, but then here's some places you can
Right,
go.
Mhm.
resources,
Right.
'cause you
Or
might not
whatever.
know.
Well, I understand that,
Yeah.
but at some point, we are not the social workers.
No, we're
We
not.
are not that, and I want to be careful about that because that's not our responsibility. When we look at this, we have a commitment to help support the Bobcat community, you know, the petty
Right.
community. So I agree with setting up a fund, whatever that is that we have for it. The other thing that I had thought of when we were doing this is maybe we say, if a request comes in for something like this and we need a gift card, what we do is we reach out to our base and say, hey, look, we're doing a gift card drive through Scripps. If you want to place an order and that gets donated to this fund, then here, we'll place an order on the behalf for this family, and then all those gift cards will go through to there,
That's
you
a good
know.
idea, yeah.
Maybe that's one approach, and I'm not saying that's the only approach, but that's maybe one approach that we could take. Another one would be a meal train or whatever it is, but we can look at things that we say, hey, this is our toolkit for dealing with these situations, and then that's what we can work with within it. So I think what we'll do is we'll look to see if there's anybody that's interested in talking about this more, and see if we can set something up for this in the for our future needs, and just come out, talk about, here are some options, here's some ideas, and then bring them back to the group. We can talk about it and then make a decision on what we want to do. Does that sound good? Okay. So with that, our next meeting is April 3rd, 2019 at 6 p.m. here. We're going to be talking about the spring event more. We'll be recapping some of the other things. Please spread the word. Our meeting after that, though, is going to be a big one because hopefully we're going to have people from other schools coming in, because that's when we're going to do our election. So if you're thinking about running for an office for next year, please make sure you come to that meeting and spread the word for that May meeting, even if they're not petty families. Finally, one last thing that's not Bobcat Boosters related. If you're interested in some Duck Race tickets, I have them. So I'll be bringing you into our meetings if you're interested. It's a good chance to win $500 for the D34 Education Foundation from some of the community sponsors that have sponsored the present. So it's kind of a cool thing. If you are interested, let me know. Thank you.